Hey everybody, it's Jasmine and I'm super excited because I'm bringing back my eyeshadow palette series. Yay! I am so excited to let you guys in on the Oden's Eye palettes. Now I have a lot of Oden's Eye palettes in my collection, but for this series in particular, we're going to be focusing on the larger palettes. I do have these smaller palettes, but I want to reserve that for another week just because there's a lot of makeup going on. But for today's palette, we're using the Solmane eyeshadow palette, and I'm really excited to show you guys how I got this really simple look. It's simple, but it has a beautiful pop of color in the wing. I know you guys could barely see it with my lashes, but it's really fun, super easy to do. It'll only take you about like 10 minutes to do. And so I hope you guys all really enjoy this video, and let's go ahead and get started on day one. Just like my other palette series, I'm going to keep the base the same for this entire series, so I'm going to show you guys that today. Now this palette, the one that I chose, the Solmane palette, I honestly don't know where I want to go with this. I'm wearing a navy blue top, and I feel like this palette is probably like the most neutral out of all the other palettes, the larger palettes that they have. So I wanted to start with this one first, and then we could gradually, hopefully, get a little bit more intense. Now I have been breaking out because my sleep schedule has not been the best. As you guys know, in my last vlog that I uploaded, I believe last week, I mentioned how I was really burnt out. So I am just trying to just recover from that and get as much rest as possible. Now I'm going to start with the hydrating face primer. I'm using the ShopMissA Aqua. The pimple on my forehead is really inflamed and really irritated. It definitely hurts whenever I rub on top of it, so I'm going to try and be as gentle as possible. On days where I do have acne, as well as just in general, I like to use a pore filling primer. I find that over top acne, it really just smooths the area so that when I go in with concealer and foundation, it kind of just creates a nice, even, soft base. So I'm just going to use the rest of my NYX pore filler primer. Not today. Not today. Every single time I sit down and film, my phone always goes off, but every single time I'm not filming, my phone is silent. She's silent, no one wants to talk to me. It's a tough life here. You know, this might be the last day that I'm using the NYX Pore Filler Primer because barely any product is coming out. Okay, just grabbed enough for my face here. I'm going to really focus this area on my nose because if I happen to go out today and wear a mask, it's just going to keep everything in this area soft, and it's also going to keep everything in place for a little bit longer. Okay, and then now we're in the forehead area. I'm gonna try and be as gentle as possible. Remember, if you touch your pimple too much or if you're too hard with it, the bacteria can spread underneath the skin, therefore giving you more acne. So just be gentle and just glaze over it if you can. The skin is looking pretty good so far, so I'm going to show you guys my tricks and tips on how to cover acne and a lot of redness. So I'm going to take a darker concealer, something that's a little darker than my skin tone. This could be a foundation or a concealer. I have the Fenty Beauty 290 concealer, and I'm going to use this to spot conceal. So I'm going to take this, let me get a mirror. I'm going to take this right on my acne spots, as well as any acne scars and any redness just in general. As you can see, I didn't even blend it out and it's already super, super concealed. I find that when you go in with a lighter concealer, it makes the redness go a little bit more on the pink side. It doesn't get concealed, so I like to let this sit on the skin while I get my foundation ready. Today I'm using the Tarte Face Tape Foundation, and I have the shade Light Medium Sand. This is honestly such a nice foundation, so I'm going to take one pump at a time. I am going to do 2 layers, so with each layer there's going to be 1 pump, and that's just because it's a super full coverage foundation. I want my base to be really full coverage today, so that's the reason why we're going to go a little bit heavy-handed. Okay, now we are just going to lightly tap over these concealer spots over the acne and the red areas on the skin. Just very, very lightly so that you don't see the redness underneath. As you see, it's still concealed. Then I'm going to take the foundation that's on the back of my hand and I'm going to dot it all over my face with my finger. I find that when you do this, you get more coverage as opposed to dipping your sponge in, because if you dip your sponge into your pile of foundation, your sponge has a tendency to really soak all of the foundation up. I have it distributed all over my face, and then with whatever is left on the back of my hand, I'm gonna scoop that up with my sponge, and then I'm just going to start on my cheek area. Instant full coverage with this foundation, really, really nice. I feel like this foundation is definitely slept on. Not a lot of people talk about it, but it's really, really amazing. I did a video a couple months back testing all of the Tarte foundations, and this one by far was my favorite out of the bunch. Now, anywhere there's a protruding bump of my acne, I'm going to kind of move around it in a circle. So I'm going to just kind of go around, and if I tap over it, great, because that means more coverage, but I also don't want to tap it because I also don't want to disturb that acne spot because it is super sensitive. I'm only going to do a half pump of foundation this time. I don't want to do a full pump, and I'm just going to add more coverage where I feel like I want it and need it. I mean, I don't need foundation, but I definitely want it more. So I'm just going to tap this over the acne this time, and while that sits on my skin, I'm going to grab the rest of the foundation on the back of my hand. I'm going to grab my concealer that is going to brighten my skin, and I'm also going to put this all over my face. This one is the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Concealer in Light 45W. This is gonna go under the eyes, on my nose, and on my chin. I am strategically avoiding the forehead because of my acne spot. I don't want to emphasize it with a lighter concealer. That's the whole point of me using the darker concealer, is just to cover it, and just putting my regular foundation shade on top just so it evens out the skin. So I'm going to let this sit on the skin for about a minute, and then I'll blend it out as usual. I'm looking very ghostly, but that's okay, it's part of the process. We're gonna take my ShopMissA pressed powder in the shade Banana, and I'm going to set my under eye area as well as any of the high points of my face that I want to set. I'm also going to really saturate the pimple area just in case, you never know. And then for extra coverage around my face area, in case I do wear a mask, I'm taking my Shiseido powder foundation. You could just use the same powder that you were using before, but I just find that I like to mix my powders. Plus, a lot of my powders are on my Project Pan list this year. So, I mean, if I could use more, that's great, because it's getting me closer to my goal every single day. I'm going to go ahead and bring a little bit of dimension back into my face, and I'm going to use the Fenty Beauty Shady Biz Sun Stalker Bronzer. And I'm just going to take this on a big angled brush, and I'm just going to start on my cheeks. And I'm only going to be doing my bronzer for this part because I just don't want to look like a ghost during this entire tutorial. So just be mindful of that. My face is looking a little bit dewy because I added some setting spray so that the powders are not too crazy. I am going to go in with my Benefit Brow Gel. This is the Gimme Brow in the shade number 4. And this is how I've been doing my brows lately. A lot of you guys have been really liking it. So I literally just drag it into my eyebrow, horizontally touching my skin. I will literally fill in my entire brow like so. And then I will go in upward strokes just to get a little bit of a fluffy effect. I also have shade number 5, so I'm going to use shade number 5 to just add a little bit of darkness to the ends of my brows. So I'm just going to go in upward strokes with shade 5. And these are just going to catch onto the hairs as opposed to the skin. I'm going to start with this cream shade to just set my eyelid, and then we will probably go in with a neutral because I am a brown smoky eye person. I'm probably going to stick to my comfort zone in this video, and that is a-okay. Oh, actually, I just got an idea. I think I know exactly what I want to do today. Okay, awesome. So now that I set my eyes with the cream shade, I'm going to go into this beautiful, like, deepened mustard yellow, and I'm going to pop this into my crease as a transition shade. Yes, ma'am. Sometimes I love sitting down in front of my camera without any idea of what I'm going to film, because sometimes it's a little bit more raw, a little bit more organic, and you guys are actually just like riding the same thought train as me. So That's exactly why I like to have no idea what I'm doing in the day. Plus, sometimes I can't be bothered with being so structured in life, you know? Sometimes I think the best things in life are not planned. And sometimes you just have to go with the flow. And hopefully this look turns out great, because I don't know how it's gonna turn out. We're gonna go into this muted mauve shade down here on a flat eyeshadow brush, and we are going to pat it all over the eyelid, and then we're gonna blend it out. But I just wanna pack it on first just because it's easier on my eye shape to do this method. I know depending on how much eyelid space you have, this might not be the most ideal method, but for me, this is what I like to do. Without taking any product on the initial blending brush, we're just gonna go ahead into the edges and sweep back and forth. And you just want to be patient with this. Sometimes you might see that it doesn't blend right away, but it definitely will. Just keep going at it and you'll see it's going to start to blend. These shadows are actually really, really nice. I played with these palettes like once. I know, nothing. But I mean, so far, I feel like the blend on these are really great. The pigmentation is also really amazing as well. I'm going to grab a little bit more of that mustard shade and I'm going to toss this back into the crease because I want this to be still prevalent in this look. I really love the mustard shades on my skin tone. This is a beautiful duochrome, and because this is still in my hand, we're just going to use that same brush, pat it into the duochrome shade, and then pop this onto the eyes. Oh, you know what? I don't think it picks up that well on the brush. I'm gonna try my finger. Some shimmers are like that, so, oh yeah, fingers work. This is a green to gold shift. Very pretty, very beautiful. For this past month, I'm going to show you guys what I do to create a beautiful smoked out liner. So I'm going to take a pencil brush and I'm going to use the purple because it's the only pop of color in this palette and I really do want to utilize it. Okay, and then I'm going to take a random business card. Oh man, I don't have my mirror here. So I'm going to wing it for you guys. And you just want to guide your brush over the business card and you just want to feel the edge of that card, and that's how you know you're gonna get a beautiful wing. There we go, boom. I definitely need my mirror, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do that one more time just so I could get it a little bit more intense. I like the way it looks, but I want it to be a little bit zestier. We're gonna be doing just a very little bit of eyeliner. So I'm gonna do a straight black line on my lash line with the brand new ShopMissA Muse liquid liner. I want to use this so I could review it for a ShopMissA roundup review. And then for my lower waterline, I'm gonna go in with the Marc Jacobs eyeliner, and this one is in the shade Mist Me. This liner is not the smoothest. It's a hard felt tip and the tip is very, very thick. Definitely pretty rough on the lash line. A good thing I'm only doing a straight line because I feel like a wing with this type of eyeliner for me is going to be really difficult. So I only did the black line just so that when I do lashes, it's going to have something to blend into. Now you could just take some black eyeliner like this, a pencil liner, to just tight line, but for my eye shape, it doesn't really work out that way. So now I'm gonna go in with my purple eyeliner. I'm going to look up into the mirror and I'm just going to line. Now this shade is very similar to the purple shadow that we applied, which is why I ended up choosing this. And I actually want my lower lash line to be a little dark and smoky. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the darkest brown in the palette here. I'm gonna take that on the tip of the pencil brush. I'm gonna look up into that mirror and I'm going to line it right where my lashes grow. Not the waterline, not where we applied the purple eyeliner, but right where the eyelashes are coming out of the skin. I don't know why I said it like that. Like that just sounded so nasty. That sounded gross. Okay, and then with that same brush, I'm taking the purple and this is gonna go right underneath that brown. Yes, ma'am. I like how pigmented this purple is. Like, it's a pastel purple, but it still has a lot of pigment to it, which is really, really nice. My camera stopped filming, so while it was stopped, I just did some mascara and some lashes. These lashes are Velour Lashes Flawless. They're super, super cute. I love them so much. I believe my code for them is JasmineYin15 or Jasmine15. I can't remember if my last name is included or not, but it's down in the description box down below. Now I'm gonna go into my Kaleidos blush. This is Lo-Fi Peach, and I'm gonna take the matte shade and just apply that onto the cheek area. I didn't want a blush that was too intense or too heavy, so I opted for this one. So many people on TikTok are like, don't apply your blush on the apples of your cheeks, but I'm just like, it makes me look younger. Yeah. We're gonna use the Solmane highlighter palette, which is the sister palette to the eyeshadow one. So we're gonna go into this golden shade. I feel like that wouldn't be too intense. I mean, it's intense in pigment, but like, you get it, you get it. I like this. This is cute. Okay, put it on the nose a little. I bring my highlight to my cheeks because whenever I smile, I like to see the highlighter there. It's just a personal preference. I'll take some on my nose, and I'm actually gonna take a little bit of this pink highlight, take that more into the middle between my bronzer and highlight, more as like a blush topper. Then we're using the Oden's Eye lipstick, and this one is in the shade Love Jasmine. Yes. In case you were interested, I did a full lipstick try on with their lipsticks earlier in February, so if you guys want to see that, it's still up on my channel. Taking a step back just to see what everything looks like. It looks pretty good. So I'm gonna go in with my Manna Kadar Hydration Mist. Alright, you guys, that was day one of my Oden's Eye palette series. I hope you guys all really enjoyed this one. I'm really excited to get into day two, which will be uploaded tomorrow. So I hope you guys all stay tuned for the 4 days this week, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye! Peace out, Girl Scouts.